talked about it. Those guys are some great trade chips, and
Mhm.
I really do wonder. I can't find a picture of the old and young Spurs together, and it's like pissing me off. I want the Spurs put together. Okay.
For San Antonio, I'm looking pretty hard on a couple of players. First off, it sucks. Primo's out for this preseason with MCL sprain.
I
Which
know.
Sucks. Keldon's a little banged up too. But those two players and Devin Vassell, those are the guys I really have my eyes on because, kind of like you're saying here, as much as I want to see, especially Jeremy Sohan, but I want to see a lot of Blake Wesley. I want to see a lot of Malachi. I think Sohan will play the most out of that group.
Yeah, Sohan will play the most out of the three, but Branham, and Wesley are going to be playing most of the season in Austin. That's just how the Spurs work the thing, and Jeremy Sohan will play too.
Yeah, so it's for me, I'm looking at, they just paid Keldon. Is Keldon a part of the future?
Definitely.
I think so, yeah, exactly, yeah. So those are the guys I'm looking at. Trey Jones is really enticing to me as well. I'm a big Trey Jones fan. I think that, I don't know if you saw Zach Collins hyping himself up. Zach Collins is a pretty solid basketball player.
Zach Collins was a lottery pick. He was like the 7th or 9th pick of the draft.
So he went to my sister school, my high school sister school, and it was funny because my freshman year roommate actually went to he went to Bishop Gorman, which is where him and like Tate Martell, it's like the coolest school in Nevada and Vegas. But apparently, I don't want to put any words in his mouth, so I won't even say it. But I'm not a big Zach Collins fan, but I root for his success, especially after that injury.
Is he a dick or something? Not your words, allegedly. Say allegedly. What are the words for the San Antonio?
Worst team, 0-84 or 0-82. I'm just kidding. I saw that on Twitter today. I think, dude, they want Vic, man. They want Vic, and they could really use Vic.
Hey, I've said this before. They've only had the first overall pick twice, and they've hit them both. The Admiral, David Robinson, and Tim Duncan. Now, look, my biggest concern for this, I love Trey Jones, and if Trey Jones can show that, I mean, he's not been a great shooter, but he's a pass defensive first guard. But if he can be anything like his brother Tyus, they're all right. But the thing is that with the Dejounte Murray trade, this team is tanking. And on paper, their opening day starter is Trey Jones, who is a guy who avoids turnovers and keeps the offensive machine moving, but doesn't really have a threat in terms of an offensive game when it comes to shooting at the rim or even the three-point shot. He shot 19.6% from three on limited attempts. Now, late first-round picks, Blake Wesley and Malachi Prime, both of whom were one-and-done players, are going to normally need heavy reps with the Austin Spurs. And even in the best-case scenario, both of those guys project more as combo guards / swingmen than as pure orchestrators. Now, Josh Richardson, if he'll be traded at one point, but maybe he's a guy who could help out with the point guard rotation, as he'll help ease the overcrowded shooting guard position. Now, I was about to say that former lottery pick Josh Primo from Alabama, youngest player in the draft, one of the youngest players ever to be drafted, who's only like 19 years old, is probably going to get some opportunities to have the ball in his hand. And although him probably mastering his normal position of shooting guard / the wing is more important than him figuring out, the point guard position. But yes, that point guard position is huge. I mean, they have Tommy Kuzi. Do you believe in Tommy Kuzi, the white ball, the next Caruso?
No.
So, yeah, I think right here, when you look at this roster, I think Zach Collins is a guy, he's got another year left on his deal. I think if Zach Collins can show that I think they should trade Pirtle at some season and have Collins end the season, because Collins could be their future big man. Like, people forget Collins. I mean, Roby's there. I think I've said this before. I would love to see a lineup of Collins, Roby, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, and Josh Primo. What do you think? And last year, Collins only played 28 games, 18 minutes a night, 8 points, almost 49% from the field, 34% from three, 5.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, about a block a game, and half a steal. And Collins is a guy who is capable as all hell. Okay, he played at Gonzaga, and he was a guy who, look, it's a terrible injury he went through, But on Gonzaga, he was averaging 2 blocks a game in college, which means he should translate over to the pros. 65% from the field, 47% from 3, 17 minutes a night, 10 points. And he showed that this year, averaging 7.8 in the same amount of minutes. Like, I think there's hope with Zach Collins, and he's only 24. So if it works out, they don't even have to draft a big man. They have the perfect modern day center right there. And even then, you could argue that if they bring in Victor Wembanyama, you could run a Collins, Victor Wembanyama front court, Keldon at the small forward. If Primo shows life as a point guard, you got Primo there, Trey Jones off the bench, Devin Vassell at shooting guard, and that's another guy I'm stoked. Devin Vassell, I think he'll be a 17 points per game scorer.
Hell yeah, take that, John baby. I like that.
You got any closing arguments for the Spurs? Any other players you're excited to see?
No, I think we touched on it all. I think you are, if you're a Spurs fan right now, I think you kind of have your expectations set. You're a good team, or you're a talented team.
Yeah, I think you're
a good team right now. And, the priority is to find that franchise guy, I think.
Yeah. And I think they have good pieces. Like, I think Joe Wieskamp, who spent most of the season last year with the Austin Spurs, I think he's a more athletic he's a more athletic Duncan Robinson. He could be like a better version of Max Strus, Joe Wieskamp, and he's somebody. Yeah, I think he's somebody to keep your eyes out for that could shock people. He got a regular deal. And then you also have on two ways Don Barlow and Jordan Hall. Jordan Hall is a 2.0 version of Kyle Anderson. Don Barlow, in my opinion, is a poor man's version of Blake Griffin. And you still, Isaiah Roby, somebody keep your eyes out for. He literally got he got waived by the Thunder just because they had too many players and he was just the odd man out. And that's crazy to think of. But Joe Wieskamp averaged 17 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists a night, and 1.5 steals on 39% from 3 and almost 50% from the field with the Austin Spurs last year. And he was basically a 40% 3-point shooter for Iowa Hawkeyes. So that's now expect.
I just want to throw in that I only said fuck you about Strus because he's my DePaul Chicago boy.
Oh, yeah. But also expect Romeo. I don't think Romeo Langford will play much, but I could see Romeo Langford, Doug McDermott, Jakob Poeltl, and Josh Richardson not on the roster by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Now, to wrap up the show,